Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will. Have you ever wondered about a certain city in a Lone Star state? They're kind of known. Some crazies call it America's team, but they have a team. Yeah, that's not America's. Maybe America's in the 70s team. But anyway, hey, as you can tell, we are going to be talking about Dallas, a hidden little gem that maybe isn't on your radar for traveling domestically, but perhaps you should consider it. But before we get into our Dallas chat, please be sure to subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win on your favorite platform. We're on all of them. I want to give a shout out to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. Thank you, Nick Menard.
You're welcome. Hello, winners.
So anyone who's tuned into probably almost any one of our podcasts that we've done now has probably noticed your affinity for Texas. You got the floating helmet behind you. You have talked about the Cowboys. You got little Luca behind the other shoulder on there. Well, at least when he was with Dallas Mavericks. Now he's no longer there. But I know you've gone there a lot. I've also gone a lot more recently since the company we're affiliated with has an office there. And it's a fun city, but I'll let you kind of open it up with Dallas because you obviously have a softer spot for it than I do, even though I love it.
Oh, I know you love it.
Yeah. For
Right.
a variety of reasons.
Food.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, we love to talk on our Wanderlust Wednesday about, like exotic places or countries that are extremely far away. And I know we talked a little bit about Vegas, but otherwise, there are so many great places to go visit in the United States. Coming from Europe, I know as American, it seems like it's not really vacation unless you are, going on Bahamas or the islands or somewhere else. But United States is the most beautiful country for me, and there are so many great places. I wouldn't call Dallas a hidden gem because that's very famous. But as European, when I first thought about Dallas, of course, it's JR, like the
Soap
sitcom,
opera.
the soap opera.
Yeah.
Everybody talk about Dallas, and cowboys. But when I first time I went, like 15 years ago, I realized, wow, it's a very modern city, actually. And then you don't have to go very far away from there, and then you are in Fort Worth, when it's actually still very with the stockyard, still a very Western-ish like, and things like that. But there's so much to do in Dallas. And that's what I really like about it. Now, it comes with the perks and also the disadvantages. For me, traffic. That's the main reason why I would never move there, because the traffic is insane. And I could not deal with it because I dealt with traffic for 32 years of my life in Brussels, in Belgium. So, but sport, if you like sport, that's a city for you. If you like barbecue, food, meat,
Tex-Mex.
that's just a place for you.
Yeah.
If you like, like nightlife, I mean, definitely known for their, like very entertaining place to go at night, like bars, clubs, like entertaining place in Dallas. And you have a lot of different generation in Dallas. That's something I really like. Yes, you have poker. For people who like poker, they have their own poker league in Dallas that you can go to. There are like 4 or 5 different one in Dallas, and then you are an hour away from Oklahoma, where you have like the casinos and all those things. So, and then I mentioned sport, of course, first. So, and the weather, 8 months a year, it's great. And then you have also like the less good part of the year when the weather is not that good. But yeah, so we're gonna have a lot to talk about. But yeah, you just went recently. I go back in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to be back in Dallas. But yeah, let's talk about whenever you want to go. Start first. We can go there.
Yeah, I think for our winners who are in Florida, it's a quick flight. It's like 2.5 hours or so. Usually can get direct out of Fort Myers, which is what I go through. So obviously, if you go to one of the bigger airports, you definitely be able to go direct. Central time zone, so you get a little hour. It's a little just something to be aware of. But I think so. I'll start with when you land in Dallas. just be prepared to add like 10 minutes because it seems like it takes forever to taxi to the gate. So there's a few airports I was mentioning. Sydney is another one like that. So just be aware if you're going to try to schedule something, give yourself some flexibility because once you land, it takes a bit to go to the gate. But I mean, to me, I'm not a small human. If I lived in Dallas, tack on 80 to 100 pounds. Like the food there is just so good if you like that type of food. So to your point, it's a more modern city than maybe people might think because you think Texas, you do think steer, you think ranches, you think cowboys. The real cowboys, not the pretend ones who put on pants with a star in their helmet. So they have an international flavor, but there's no question barbecue Tex-Mex, sweet goodness. You got to experience Terry Black's. So for those who don't know, Terry Black's has 2 restaurants in the state of Texas that I'm aware of. One, the OG, started in Austin, and then he opened one in downtown Dallas, which is where we went to. But maybe share a little bit about Terry Black's, and I'll talk about some other restaurants. I got a feeling we're going to talk a lot about food.
I know. Well, Terry Black's, I would categorize that as a huge warehouse where they butcher meat and they serve you meat like that. It's in front of you and you see the massive amount of meat there, and then they ask you which one do you want, and then just cut it in front of you, and then they give it to you. You see literally the huge barbecues inside. So it's a warehouse. So it's like a one huge, like room. And then you go in, it's like industrial kind of place. And then you go in a row, and then you just go pick up your sides first, and then dessert. They're very smart, dessert. And then you go the meat at the end, which is what people want. So basically they're gonna, upsell you. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then the food is just
and big portions, of course.
Yeah. And it's just delicious.
Yeah.
And then you just have a million like tables everywhere, and everybody sit down with their plate.
Like picnic tables.
Yeah, exactly.
Picnic tables.
And it's somewhere you need to go. If you go to Dallas, you need to stop at Black's because it's gonna be an experience in itself.
Yeah, and don't eat like 6 to 8 hours before you go there because you will get hefty portions.
Brisket.
Great food, great atmosphere, very busy. I wouldn't necessarily call this I'll say it's an interesting fact. You're also not that far of a walk away from where JFK got shot.
Actually, we did that last time. Last time we went together, we went to where you brought me there because I didn't experience it before, and then we went from there to the restaurant.
Yeah, so very walkable, but highly recommend Terry Black's. There's a place just across it's on the other side of the block that I was recommended this last trip called the Pecan Lodge. And like, if you're local to Dallas, there's some folks who prefer Pecan Lodge. No, I went there. I thought the brisket was slightly better, but wasn't as busy, didn't have as many choices on the barbecue sauce or anything like that. So it was just one of those things where you can't go wrong with the Pecan Lodge. My preference would be Terry Black's, but right next to the Pecan Lodge is what some say is not only the best pie place in Dallas, but some will say in the United States, called Emporium Pies. And so it's literally attached to Pecan Lodge. So it's a block away from Terry Black's, right next door to Pecan Lodge. And they have these different pie flavors that they do.
I need to go check it out.
It's delicious, but the pie is different consistency. It's almost like a cross between a pie and a muffin. So I got like a almond poppy seed like piece of pie, but it almost tasted like a muffin like. But you got the crust. And it's so good.
That makes me hungry.
They can heat it up, and it was good.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely something. Dallas, you will not be starving because there are great food plays, a lot of different area. Definitely. Something to know, so that's huge. The downtown area, I mean, it's massive. And when you get Friday, Saturday night, the place to be is uptown. Like you go uptown, you will have a lot of activity in the evening, a very diverse group of people, more like sophisticated or really people with jeans and polo, and then you can go pretty much everywhere. A lot of different bars, restaurants, and then you can go to some hotels on the rooftop. Like you
Mm-hmm.
have like bars that oversee the whole downtown area. Then of course you have the place where you have the Dallas Mavericks and the Stars, like the American Airlines Arena or the American Airlines Center, I think this, where you have Dirk statue, Dirk
Yeah.
Nowitzki statue, and also the famous hockey player from the 90s. I forgot his name from the Star there as well. So the two statue in front, but it's really in the middle of downtown, and you have a bunch of sport bars around and a very nice place to eat as well. So again, I mean, one of the best Mexican places I ever been was also in Dallas on the uptown area where they were making like the guacamole in front of you, like a lot of places
Mm-hmm.
do, but that was
Mm-hmm.
literally mind blowing good.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely, we talk a lot about food, and then talking about food, I mentioned like the stockyard in Fort Worth. It's
Yeah.
like 30-45 minutes away from downtown Dallas when you have no traffic, and it's literally the middle age when you get there. And then you have, if you like ribs,
Oh
the
yeah.
ribs there, you have all you can eat ribs like for two times nothing, under $20. And then you have like all you can eat ribs and any flavor you want, and it's just delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like literally the long horns, like on the pavers outside, like
It's like your helmet.
walking. Yeah, it's an experience. You need to go there to experience the, like you live like in the 1800s. So that's
Oh
really
yeah.
really fun to experience. And just in between those two, it's Arlington, when you have like, of course, the Cowboys, the Texas Rangers. You have like all those teams.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, even though it's huge, if you don't count traffic, like everything is within 45 minutes from everything.
Yeah, if you avoid rush hour, it doesn't
Mhm.
take too bad.
No,
You know, it's not bad. But it's like any place you hit rush hour. But there, the rush hour is
are
more significant.
intense.
Yeah, because they haven't expanded the roads enough to accommodate for the population surge that they've had. But a couple other quick places to name: the Lodge had elk tacos for an appetizer there, and their cornbread.
Mm.
I mean,
Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
oh my goodness! Like I know it may sound weird that I'm getting so excited about cornbread, but try the cornbread at the Lodge. The consistency of it, and then they put the honey butter. So good. And then whiskey cake. I've been to whiskey cake a couple times. They had little mini chicken and waffles. So instead of the massive ones, they were like appetizer size, where you get a chicken tender on like a quarter of a waffle or whatever. But that was really good. They had these like bacon nuggets. It wasn't bacon strips, but they were like chunks of bacon. That was really good, and their drinks were good. Just so many places to go in Dallas. Going back to your downtown, to your hotels, I wish I could remember the name of the hotel, but if you just randomly walk like I kind of do, you find this sort of stuff. I went to a hotel once, had the rooftop kind of
Mhm.
bar, but inside they had a two-person jazz playing in a corner, which was really cool. So you're listening to these people playing jazz. And then the last trip I went to, we were in Deep Ellum. So where you go to Terry Black's and that downtown is right
Mhm.
near a place called Deep Ellum. And we were randomly walking around, and all of a sudden we hear some music, and we go into this place. It's called the Free Man, and you go into there, and if you ever picture a Chicago style blues place, that's what that place was. And we went in there. It was like a $10 cover, but it was really cool. The ambiance was awesome. The music was really good. The singer sometimes hit the note, sometimes didn't, but it was really cool. And so there's that. There's just so much to see and do in Dallas as well, and like you're saying, the surrounding areas. Hey,
Yeah,
it's a good city.
absolutely. Something to, of course, since it's a huge city, definitely in Texas, you have Houston, Austin, Dallas, probably
Mhm.
three main one. Then you have San Antonio and others. But a lot of big companies, corporation are in Dallas. So it means a lot of young, professionals as
Mhm.
well. And so Dallas is very known for happy hour,
Mhm.
So it's a place where after work, you can always find a place to go and network or get together with friends or or just get to know new people, like mingle. You can literally, that's a perfect city for that. So, different places downtown where you can go and you see like at 5 p.m. during the week, those places are just packed. And I really thought it's great because I've been a couple of times by myself in Dallas for different businesses, and I get to talk to like anyone. So, like you there, and then you just get into conversation with the person next to you, and then they bring you to their group, and it's very convivial. I really love, and it's usually the southern place. It's usually the case, but Dallas, I felt very strongly about that. Austin as well, Houston less, but for me, Dallas was very welcoming. So very easy to get to talk to anyone, and Dallas, funny enough, actually, I read that recently, is the third place in the United States with the most billionaire.
Really?
Yeah, it's Dallas as the third most billionaire in United States are living in Dallas. So,
Well, Elon Musk added a +1 when he relocated from Cali there, right?
no, but it's interesting because
Yeah.
of course if they relocate there, there's a lot of IT there, a lot of different
Ross
technology.
Perot.
Yeah, exactly.
Ross Perot used to
Yeah,
live
so that's good. Talking about happy hour, also a place which is very typical. So there is this place for happy hour called Pickle and Waffle. And Pickle and Waffle is a place where pickleball is famous now more and more in the United States. And you go there, and it's literally they have like 20 courts of pickleball around, and it's a bar where you have a lot of companies doing like a event, like a get together with the team and brainstorming and stuff like that. And then you have like you can reserve some part of building, so they have a bunch of space where you can reserve, do some meetings.
Oh, okay.
And then you come out and you have happy hour and team building kind of activities, and it's pickleball outside, and it's chicken pickle, and then you just literally like it's so innovative, and it's packed. Like I've been 2 or 3 times with different groups.
Yeah.
It's insane how popular that is. So it's immense, and it's a little bit outside Dallas, but 5-10 minutes outside Dallas. But it's literally a place. If you're looking for a place where it's a bit different with a great atmosphere, where you can play pickleball, billiard, snooker inside, and things like that, with great different finger food, like bar food, this is the place to try because it's very different. Like so. I would totally, invite you to go and check it out and tell us how you liked it. But I sent a lot of people over there, and they all found it very interesting, and they love the atmosphere and the idea of.
I'm going to check that out next time. I haven't been.
Yeah.
So that sounds awesome.
Yep.
So
No,
check it out.
absolutely.
Yeah. I think the other thing you mentioned about Dallas being a big sports town, which I think most people, even if they're casual about sports, kind of understand that about Dallas. They have some massive sports bars. Like big sports bars, which is pretty cool. I was talking to one of my teammates, and her husband is a Vikings fan. I mean, not everyone's perfect. So, but anyway, they have this massive sports bar where half of it is Vikings, half of it is Bears. And she was talking about how they went there and for a Sunday night game one time with the Vikings and Bears, and just the interesting aspect of it. But I used to work for a company that was based out of Carrollton, Texas. And I forget the name she called it, but it is a huge sports bar. And I remembered going there one of those times. This is like 20 years ago. When they say everything's bigger in Texas, it is true. There is big food, there's big sports bars, big cattle. If you listen to Charles Barkley in San Antonio, there's big women, but that's not Dallas. But
yeah, the place is Cosm, I think. Cosm is the place where it's a replica on it's a huge screen when you screen, and it feels like you are literally like in the attendance of the game when it's football game on Sunday. And it's the largest, I think, screen in the United States in the sport bar. And that's called Cosm, COSM.
Okay.
And it's where you have that experience of being in a stadium while you are in a sport bar.
That's cool.
So that's definitely something that I never had a chance to personally go, but I heard a lot of people mentioning it. That's why I had to Google it back. But Cosm is definitely a place when it's football season that I would recommend to go. And unfortunately, there's no casino
Yeah.
in Texas by law, but they tried to change that. It didn't pass this time around, and who knows? But I don't understand because Texas would be the perfect state for casino. I think that would be sick. But for now, you need to drive to Oklahoma if you want to have a close casino from Dallas. It's an hour driving, and then you have casinos there. But I know a lot of our followers are love casinos, so that's why we mentioned this here. But definitely, you will not be bored in Dallas, Texas.
No, and you will come back heavier than what you left. So just take that into account.
But yeah, it's true. But you have a lot
Yeah.
of trails.
Yeah.
Texas for a city like with very modern and a lot of activities, they have tons of trails downtown. So you have like those long trails. You will see all day long in Dallas people running around like the parks with like their dogs.
Mhm.
Like you have a lot of those activities. People are very active because not young professional. I mentioned a lot of young professionals, and so you have a lot of active people in Dallas, and it's very convivial. I think if I was in my 20s, Dallas would be probably the best place to live because that's how you can connect with people the easiest, I think,
Mm-hmm.
and grow with people with the same kind of mindset as you, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Dallas is a really, there's a lot to do. It just depends on what someone's interest is. But um, to your point about the friendliness, I would say the one thing, this will probably be a plus for many folks, but was a minus for me, country music
I love it.
everywhere.
Love it.
Nails on a chalkboard to me. But but in fact, somebody we went to dinner with was kind enough to pick us up at the hotel and drive us to dinner, and they're playing country, and my ears started to hurt. I started getting a headache, and no, I'm joking.
We have a lot in common, like Will and I, but this
That's-
is not something I love personally country, but I know he's not. Every
no.
time you hear country, I see his face changing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's almost like I got kicked in the nether regions, and it's like,
My God. So tell us, Will, what else is fun to do in Dallas?
well, there's all sorts of entertainment. It's just a matter of what's your fancy. I think there's big. We talked about the big sports bars, movie theaters, shopping, stuff
Oh,
like
yeah,
that.
shopping
Yeah,
malls.
shopping's actually really good there too. But like the hidden things are like what I came across, the free man, like those
Mhm.
little blues bars you wouldn't normally maybe think about. Go check that out. And they you mentioned they're very friendly people there, and that is true.
So we have a lot of teams, a lot of people in our teams in Dallas. So we're lucky enough to go there quite often,
Yeah.
and we are always welcome very well. And when we do activities with our team, different places, we always have great memories to bring back home.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, yeah, and just to double down on the people, like you can like they're I don't know. There's something about a Texan that is inherently grounded. Like they're grounded folk. You know what I mean? Which is nice. So, a lot of people, if this is your uh, affinity for, there's a lot of people of faith in Texas. They talk very openly, casually, about it, but it's not like, it's not like they're trying to recruit you or anything like that. It's just, it's a big part of their life. Obviously, football. I mean, Friday Night Lights, right, and stuff like that. But I think uh, I agree with you. Very friendly folk, can have a conversation with a stranger, not a problem. I felt very safe also
Oh,
walking
yeah,
around
that's also true.
downtown Dallas. Like, and I think part of that goes to the people aspect. But it's like any big city. There's certain areas where you want to have your head on a swivel, but by far and away, I felt totally comfortable walking all around different areas on the different time. Again, people always very friendly. Even the
Absolutely.
service is extremely good. Oh my gosh, the service I had at the lodge, the waiter. I mean, you would have thought he was like at some Michelin star restaurant. Like it was actually one of the better service experiences, like knowledgeable about all the different food and talking about it and being very prompt on things and giving guidance and being transparent. You know, not everything is great at the place type of thing, but um, yeah, I think sometimes you go to certain areas and the service is a little sketchy. I've never had bad service in Texas.
Awesome.
In Dallas.
Well, last thing I want to say, because I didn't mention, if you have families and you have children, there's a lot to do in Dallas as well. You have, Six Flags, bunch of attraction, place to go with children. It's very well known as well. So I mentioned young professionals and professional in general, because that's more where we are. But yeah, definitely a lot of families in Dallas. So like you said, it's very safe. So it's good to bring your family there and experience Dallas for a couple of days. You will not be disappointed. I know that Six Flags is like 15 minutes from the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry World, like a stadium, and that's a huge one. So that's also a good place to go and have fun. You don't need, you can do pretty much everything in Dallas. I don't see really a lot of things that you cannot do.
No, I agree. Like I said, and we just talked about Dallas proper and the very nearby surrounding areas, but you're a few hour drive from Austin.
3 hours.
Yeah, and stuff like that, and parks, a lot of different parks and lakes and stuff. So tons to do in Dallas. Check it out if you haven't been. Give it a shot. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, and I know we have some listeners that are living there. So please don't hesitate to comment and say all the things that we didn't mention, because you live there, you have area that you will recommend. Definitely happy hour and stuff. I've been to so many different places, I don't recall them all, but there are really places that I would suggest people to go. So if you are living in Dallas or been there multi times and have things to recommend, comment below, and so it can help our winners or listeners to experience more.
Yeah, including where you can find the VHS tape of the last Cowboys Super Bowl win. All right, so with that, winners, we will wrap up today's episode. Had to get that in there because I know we got some listeners who are going to be hammering me about that, but it's all good fun. But
you're the only one laughing.
I know. So that'll do it. No, in all seriousness, Dallas, great city, great people. So thank you, winners. That'll wrap up today's episode. Please be sure. Hope you subscribe, share, and follow too for the win, especially if you live in Texas. After my little cowboy comment, but and also thanks to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring today's episode. That'll wrap today's Wanderlust Wednesday. We'll see you next week.
Bye, winners.
Bye.